Hey guys, RJ here, and I'm really excited to bring you yet another weekly review of The Expanse on the SyFy channel. This is episode 3, and it's called Static. So let's go ahead and get started right now. Well guys, this is where I say if you haven't seen episode 3 of SyFy Channel's The Expanse, please don't watch this episode. Go watch the episode, come back, and then we can talk about it. So that being said, let's go ahead and get started and jump right into it. That first week where we got 2 episodes in one, it was a fantastic mix. I really enjoyed it. I mean, I gave it a really high score last week, so I really enjoyed that. I was a little worried that maybe episode 3 wouldn't be as fast-paced, wouldn't be as, like trying to dig into the story as fast as 1 and 2 did. I mean, they revealed a lot of stuff in those first 2 episodes, so I wasn't really sure where they were going to go from there, but they really, they almost kicked it up another notch because of the implications for where they're pushing the season in general. And I gotta say, I said in my review last week that I thought Joe Miller was kind of going crazy, and I'm glad that they provided us an explanation as to why he did it. And he states at the end of the episode to Colonel Johnson, he's like, the reason I did this in the first place was because it was sounding right to me, and that scared the absolute bejesus out of me. And I totally understand that, because what the doctor was trying to say was like, we need to defend ourselves and we should give up absolutely anything in order to survive as a species. And I think what makes humanity different from anything else out there is the fact that we understand that we are a mortal race, and that at any point in time, the sun could grow too large, we could all die, an asteroid could hit and destroy us, or an alien race would come in and invade us. So, I think that a lot of, including myself, might have judged him a little harshly just because of the conversation that he had with Naomi, and really like what we thought his motivation was and what it actually ended up being. It wasn't Julie, it was something else. And, I like the way that they kind of brought that in, because once again, it makes him into a gray character. And that's what I said last week, is please don't get rid of that, because the second you turn him like good or evil, he kind of loses his interest as a character, and it doesn't play to his strengths as an actor. So really excited about what they did this week. I love the parts where he goes in and talks to the people about Eden with the, we haven't figured out the air systems, the air supply systems for hundreds of years of travel. And, some people look down on this because it's, kind of saying like future grandkids and stuff won't even see the destination that they're trying to reach. And I want to learn a little bit more about like the whole like religious society that's going on with this. And I love that he like walks in off the street to this like super white building. And the visuals, once again, this episode, we'll talk about them more later, but absolutely excellent. So like I really like where they kind of bring in this little bit of religious aspect, because it doesn't matter where you are, whether you're in space, on Earth, and Mars. Everyone, at least some people there's going to be religion everywhere. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, no matter what, no matter where you go, there's going to be some form of religion, of religious belief or spiritual belief. And I think that they incorporated that like pretty well into this episode, where they kind of just like introduced it like in there. But I think Joe Miller's plan is absolutely batshit insane, and I love it. I really do. And that's the thing, is like we saw from the preview, I did not get the sense of this is what his plan was. I thought maybe he was going to run away, and maybe that was some like Mars weapon, but no, it ends up being this giant ship that they're going to take to, the Holy Land or whatever. And I really like where they went with his storyline. I won't say any more about that. I thought he was excellent. I thought the way him and the Colonel played off each other for this whole episode was really great. And I know that him and Jim and, now the whole crew pretty much of the Rosinante are not for him. And Amos comes and tells this to him directly at the bar. And in general, he was so clutch this episode. Let's talk about him. He ends up getting a lot of stuff out of the lab technician, and or not even a technician. He could be, I guess, considered one of like the main brains. He's not the lead doctor, but he ends up getting, and the way he does it is, he talks about how pedophiles, they won't say anything about little girls if you just ask them about it, but the second you put something in front of them about their obsession, they'll immediately start spewing things. And this is true for all of us in every sort of way that we get involved with something. Obviously not child pedophilia, but the fact that, the second someone actually like pushes something in front of us that we enjoy, we're going to start talking about it way easier than just you being like, hey, do you like this? So I really like the way that he goes in and kind of like tricks him into being like, hey, we're not going to destroy it. It might be a lie, but the point is they're trying to get the information that they need in order to either, one, stop this, or two, kind of figure out exactly what's going on. And talking about what's going on, because I have no idea what is happening on Eros. So there are some crazy things that we hear like throughout the episode, that we get information about what might be happening on there. And you hear they talk about all of these data streams. There are multiple characters that come up with lines that talk about these data streams. They say they're hearing voices in them. The music's playing when Joe Miller's over there. And I mean, like, there's obviously something going on, because if they all ended up like Mao did, then they would be dead. But now we're saying, we don't know the possibilities. We have no idea what's going on there. And I love this because it builds up a ton of tension and a lot of excitement throughout the episode, because you're like, holy crap, are we going to find out this episode, like, what's actually going on there? And no, the answer is no, we don't. But they build the tension to keep you on the edge of your seat waiting. Like, am I about to find out about this? Are they actually going to, like, give us more information about what's actually happening on there? And it seems like next episode, when they finally get the prisoner involved a little bit more. I wish I could remember his name, but I can't. But once they get him involved a little bit more, and he's just decrypting the data, and he's like listening to what's going on there, and he talks about the fact that there's a countdown to what is the question. So I have a few theories. I'm gonna go with 3 here, just off the top of my head. I think 1, to count down to an arrival of an alien race. That reminds me of things like Independence Day, stuff like that. I like that as a plot device too. I always think that that's a good, like, the invaders are coming, so we better do something about it. I really enjoy that. Number 2, it's a countdown for them to escape. Maybe now they've realized exactly what they are. They're kind of an experiment. And if this proto-molecule is so intelligent, the more biomass that you feed it makes it all that more intelligent. Maybe it's figuring out that it was started as a test and now has become, self-aware, and now it's going to lash out at humans for even treating it like this. That's the thing, is we know so little, at least TV show watchers. I know there are book watchers out there, but we know so little as to the actual origins, or, what exactly the proto-molecule is. And I think that they could end up trolling everybody, and maybe humans actually created it in the first place, and this guy just lied to everyone. I don't know. There's a lot of things that they can do with the proto-molecule, and I don't even think we've begun to see, like, I don't think this is the end. Let's say they stop Eros and they, move on with their lives. There's no way this is the end. 1, there's no way that's the only container of the virus in the hands of bad guys. And 2, there's also the stuff that they left behind the asteroid for the cure. So it's not going to be the end no matter what happens with this. Talking about a few other things that I really enjoyed in this episode. Alex's dedication to training for the ship, where he's going through the simulation over and over and over and over again. And Holden eventually comes up to him like, what are you doing, dude? And Alex knows, and he turns around and he's like, you know exactly what I'm doing. I'm preparing. There's no way that I'm going to let people die if it's possible for me to save them. So he is going to drill. And honestly, Alex is probably one of my favorite characters in this show. He's well balanced, he's well liked, and while I kind of think that might set him up down the road to maybe be a character that gets cut, I really hope not, because as the person who's driving the ship, I feel like that's awesome. Just all the things that he does, and the humor that he provides in the show is a good offset, because Holden and Amos and Naomi has good funny bits, don't get me wrong, and even Holden can crack a joke every once in a while when he's not being super righteous, as they bring up in this episode. But in general, I think that Alex brings a really good balance to the team, and I think if they got rid of that would be a problem. But he was by far one of my favorites this episode. And then Naomi's little side story where she ends up going and partying with Octavia, I believe, which is Johnson's right-hand man, or woman, sorry. And so they go out and they party together. They play racquetball together. It was with their hand though. So I don't know I don't even know if that's a real thing now, or if they created that just for this show. Cause it's clearly exactly like racquetball or close to, but I do like the way that they kind of have them there. They have them in their, what we would be wearing in maybe a couple 100 years as sports activity wear. And there's some good marketing there for sure. And then you see them, but then they go straight from this to in a club dancing. So apparently that's your going out wear as well. But Naomi looked absolutely fantastic. I swear, I'm such a huge fan of hers. And if you're watching, please, I love you. Okay. But no, seriously, she looked amazing. And I really like Octavia as a character. I really like the way that Naomi and her got along. I thought that was funny. Now we go out for beers. I don't know. She's really funny to me, and she brings a good lightheartedness. I hope she's not evil. I kind of got that sense for a moment where Johnson and her are talking, and the message came in from Earth, and it seems like she's worried that he's going to get a hit put on him. And Yeah, I mean, there's definitely risks to what Johnson is doing and trying to work behind the backs of, all these people out in space. And there's a lot of enemies to be made by him believing her and sending a message back. And I get all of that, but he's also right in doing so because they don't know who they're facing. They don't know what they're doing, and they don't know how big this actually is. They don't know how high. I mean, she has her suspicions on Earth that it could be the Attorney General or whatever, but point is, they don't know exactly what's going on, and they're just taking, all out gambles at this point because they don't have anything to lose, really. Like, Johnson, pretty much they're just going to try and work together to minimize the damage as much as possible. But it seems at this point, after the attack that killed 17 people from Earth, it seems at this point I don't really see the war being stopped unless it's something drastic happens in the next couple of episodes. It seems like they're pushing that this war is 100% going to happen, and that brings up another one of my favorite characters this episode, and she's really growing on me, and I bet most of you already know who I'm about to say, but it's Gunny. The one that I said last week, that was Frankie. It's Frankie Montas. No, but seriously, she brings a life to this show that like a strong fuel to her. Like, she is kick-ass. She is made of metal. She has balls of steel. She's not willing to give up those cojones for anybody. And the second, like, people start picking on one of her lieutenants as, like, he's Earthborn, but, raised in Mars. And they've had this little, like, spoof going on since we saw the Mars Command. And I do like the Mars storyline a little bit. I just kind of wish it would be fleshed out. I don't have her motivation for hating Earth as much as she does. And, maybe that's just, like, all Mars soldiers are trained to think like that because that's, like, the number one risk of war is against Earth. So I don't know if they're just trained like that or if there's something inherently happened to her. Maybe her family got killed in the war, or maybe she really just likes terraforming that much. I really like her character, and I think she's performed really well on screen. Her badass moments, and when she's talking to her superior and, like, she gets all lippy and stuff, oh man, like, some of the dialogue in this show has really surprised me so far. Last season I thought maybe at times it left me a little bit wanting, but I feel like this season they've really nailed some of these pieces. They keep, like, the flow going in almost every single scene, like the bar scenes where they're out there where Joe Miller and Amos are having a drink, and I think a lot of the dialogue is actually, like, getting better as we go along, which isn't something for me to complain about. So, I'm trying to think of what else here. The visuals were great. It wasn't anything too fancy. They didn't go anywhere. There weren't, like, any space battles, but in general, there were clean shots. Really like the shot of the church. All of the simulations that Alex is doing with the ship and trying to figure that out. And then, like, the bar scenes that they have, I really like the audio that they've been playing for this whole season, which is now apparently influenced by Eros. But I really like what they're doing with the show as a whole. They're building on something that we're all getting really into, and I just hope that SyFy's numbers go up, because I was looking earlier today and it doesn't seem like they're getting the viewership as high as they would like. But I still think it's performing relatively well for, SyFy as a channel. So if you aren't watching it live, go watch it live. TV ratings are still important for some reason, even though I think online streaming is clearly the future. And I watch it online on Expanse. But point is, this show has really surprised me this season. I thought it was maybe going to flop second season and then just be canceled, but so far it's only actually improved upon what I thought might happen, and it keeps me guessing. That's the biggest thing for me, is it keeps me guessing. I don't know where this show is going to go next, and no, I have not read the books, but as I said to a fan, I'll definitely think about it after I finish Game of Thrones. This show is really good at keeping you guessing, and I'm ready for the rest of the season to keep me guessing on what's going to happen. But if I had to slap a score on this one, I'm not going to give it the super high score I did of the first 2 episodes, because I thought that was an amazing hour and a half of television. This was still really good, but it wasn't amazing. It wasn't like blow me back, because it's a lot of character depth, a lot of building, a lot of friendship building and relationship, what's happening between Joe and Jim. And I'm going to give this one an 8.5 out of 10. Still a great episode. Absolutely loved it. The music was great. And the setup for what's going to happen next. Is Miller actually going to crash that giant freaking space station into an asteroid? Because if so, like, strap yourselves in, guys. This CGI is going to be crazy coming up, okay? Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really enjoy reviewing this show. You can tell, like, I have a legitimate smile on my face pretty much the whole time I do this. and I pretty much geek out after every episode that I watch for this. I watched this one twice today. It's just a really good show, and the fact that it has surprised me so far on where I thought it was going to go and how well I thought it was going to do just makes me all the happier. So let me know down in the comments below, what did you guys think of this episode? Was it better than week 1/2, the two-parter, or do you think this one slowed down a little too much for you? Let me know down in the comments. Follow us on social media, start another conversation there, and subscribe to us here on YouTube because that helps us out the most. So until next time, guys, we'll see you soon.